Adolescence spans from age 10 to age 18. Young people in this age group live with their parents, are experiencing the physical changes of puberty, and immersed in the school-based peer culture of junior high or high school. Young adulthood usually doesn't begin until at least 25 years of age and lasts until about 35. During this time, individuals begin to take on more structured roles in society, often building careers and families. Emerging adulthood is neither adolescence nor young adulthood. It is distinct from them both, and is generally considered to span from about 18 to 25 years of age. This period of life is distinguished by relative independence from social roles and expectations. The dependency of childhood and adolescence is gone, but the responsibilities of adulthood haven't fully set in. Little about the future has been decided for certain, and there's still time to explore life's possibilities. In fact, many refuse to commit to any set path if it means excluding other options in the future. There's an attitude of, today I choose this, tomorrow we'll see. They prefer a horizon that consists of options that can always be reversed, rather than definitive choices. Pope Francis urges our young people to avoid the paralysis of the living dead, who have no life because they are afraid to take risks, to make mistakes, or to persevere in their commitment. The life experiences they have every day are radically different from those of previous generations. And this phase of life is only found in developed countries, where the necessities of life do not force an earlier arrival into adulthood. It should also not be forgotten that there are huge economic interests operating in the digital world, capable of exercising forms of control as subtle as they are invasive, creating mechanisms for the manipulation of consciences and the warping of reality. Many young people, wanting to be different, really end up being like everybody else, running after whatever the powerful set before them with the mechanisms of consumerism and distraction. Pope Francis writes, I've sometimes seen young and beautiful trees, their branches reaching to the sky, pushing even higher, and they seemed a song of hope. Later, following a storm, I would find them fallen and lifeless. They lacked deep roots. They spread their branches without being firmly planted. That is why it pains me to see young people sometimes being encouraged to build a future without roots, as if the world were just starting. For it is impossible for us to grow unless we have strong roots to support us and to keep us firmly grounded. It is easy to drift off when there's nothing to clutch on to, nothing to hold to. Unfortunately, education today is focused almost exclusively on college prep. Young people are graduating from high school without even basic money managing and life skills, creating a delay between the time they are legally of age and the time they actually identify as adults. Most young people in this age group would disagree that they've reached adulthood. They see themselves more as gradually making their way there. They feel the transition to adulthood is not complete until they've taken full responsibility for themselves by making independent decisions and becoming financially independent. Studies show that they have need for a person of reference to walk with them, offering support, encouragement, and help without making them feel judged. However, they are not just seeking an older adult, but also looking to their peers. The Word of God says that young people should be treated as brothers. They're not meant to become discouraged. They're meant to dream great things, to seek vast horizons, to aim higher, and to take on the world, to accept challenges and to offer the best of themselves to the building of something better. Under duress, I will admit that this is a pretty exciting time. Sometimes when I look out across the wide expanse that is my future, I can see beyond the void. I realize that having nothing ahead to count on means I now have to count on myself, and having no direction means forging one of my own. By the end of this period, the late 20s, most people have made life choices that have enduring ramifications. When adults later consider the most important events in their lives, they most often name events that took place during this period. Emerging adulthood allows for a time of exploration and a chance to build personal identity in 3 key areas: love, work, and worldviews. It is the job of the church to help them see that the vocation to love, understood as true openness to our fellow human beings and solidarity with them, is the most basic of all vocations. And from there, they can begin to understand morality and discern God's unique path for their lives. Young people do not see themselves as a disadvantaged class or a social group to be protected, and they do not want to be passive recipients of church programs. They show a willingness and a readiness to participate in programs that help them explore their own identity and understand who they are. The recent Synod of Bishops recognized that a substantial number of young people, for all sorts of reasons, do not ask the Church for anything because they don't see her as significant for their lives. Some even expressly ask to be left alone, as they find the presence of the Church a nuisance or even an irritant. These feelings often stem from serious reasons: recent sexual and financial scandals, clergy who are ill-prepared to engage with the young, lack of care in homily preparation, the Church's difficulty in explaining her doctrines and positions to contemporary society, and the passive role assigned to young in our Catholic communities. In 2016, 1 out of every 3 18 to 20-year-olds said they did not believe in God, and most believe that Christianity is anti-gay, judgmental, and hypocritical. As Kenneman put it, we have become famous for what we oppose, rather than who we are for. As St. Pope Paul VI said, in the very discontent that you often feel, a ray of light is present. The love of God and our relationship with the living Christ do not hold us back from dreaming. They do not require us to narrow our horizons. On the contrary, that love elevates us, encourages us, and inspires us to be better and live a more beautiful life. It is our job as the Church to stand in contrast to the rapidly changing pace of contemporary society, not as an outdated idea, but as the enduring truth of God's love. Although it is never easy to approach young people, 2 things have become increasingly evident: the realization that the entire community has to be involved in evangelizing them, and the urgent requirement that they take on a greater role in pastoral outreach. The Church accepts her call to collaborate in the joy of young people, rather than being tempted to take control of their faith. This demands constant refinement of one's sensitivity to the voice of the Spirit and a desire to discover the unique richness in each person's individual character. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. This is God's plan for all men and women in every age, including all the young men and women of the 3rd millennium, without exception.